ESPN 94.9, The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is kind of a cloudy, overcast Monday. We had rain earlier, but it looks like the sun's trying to come out a little bit, and that's a good thing. Hope all of you had a great Easter. You got to spend it with family and friends and probably pig out a little bit, and that's not a bad thing. Billy, you have 400 family members were all present and accounted for.
They were, yes. It was a lot of food. Probably too many desserts, but that's okay.
You did not make any of the food.
No, I did not.
Okay, just want to make sure of that. Now let's go to God only knows where Kelly Holcomb is holed up in a cave.
Yeah.
Kelly, how are you?
Sorry. I'm good, man. How you doing? It is what it is. That's as light as I can get it in here.
Yeah.
You know.
Are you being held hostage?
I am not being held hostage. No, I'm just out of town. And I want to ask this, Billy. George said you had 400 family members. Are you like the lowest on the totem pole in that family?
I'm not. I'm probably.
Are you like the black sheep of the family? Are you like the runt?
No, I used to be. Not anymore. Ever since I joined.
Oh, you're not anymore?
Show.
Okay. All right.
So that's really helped not only your self-esteem, but the family pecking.
Yeah, it's helped everything.
That's very exciting. That's
nobody wanted the runt.
Lie is what that is.
Hey, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. They're always asking about Kelly. Like, who's that Kelly guy always ripping?
Why is he always? Yeah. Why is he so mean?
I hope so. I'm glad they say, hey, it's just carried on from the house to the George Plaster Show.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
But now we can't see you, so you're invisible, Kelly. What's the solution long term to this?
I'm not sure, man. I mean, I'm in a, I lit it up as much as I can in here, other than going out and buy a halogen lamp from somewhere.
Right. I expect that to be done by tomorrow.
Is that what you want? I'll try.
Actually, this may be an improvement. I don't know. Maybe that's what we need to do with me.
Well, earlier you were that little smart aleck self that says, it's okay, man. We don't need to see you. That's a better picture of you anyway. So
I did.
I'll be sure to get you one day.
Yeah, no question about that. Billy.
Yeah.
So we've had a long weekend. We have not been on the air since Thursday late in the afternoon. Do you have an update with substance, or is it just the normal telling us about the Grizzlies getting beat? By the way, if you had the Grizzlies plus 50, you lost.
Shocker.
Yeah.
But
congrats to them on getting in.
Congrats. Nice knowing you, Grizzlies. I think we can say that.
It may not be a lengthy deal for them.
This will be a lengthy update. We got a lot to get to today.
Oh, sure we do.
After a long weekend. It's brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. Well, if you didn't know, it's NFL draft week. ESPN already has a countdown clock. For whatever reason, which is ridiculous. I think it was this morning I was watching 81 hours away from the draft. Well, thank you.
Oh, good Lord.
But in college football,
people are holding vigil.
The quarterback carousel continues to churn in the portal after Nico made it official with UCLA yesterday. The Bruins lost their quarterback, who was supposed to be their starter, Joey Aguilar, who had transferred in from Appalachian State. He is now in the portal looking for a place to start his last year of eligibility, and Tennessee might just be where he lands. So how about that? You could get a little little trade, Nico for Joey Aguilar. He had a great couple of years at Appalachian State, threw for over 6,000 yards, 56 touchdowns in the last couple of years as a starter there. Feels like Tennessee might have their quarterback. Apparently they're meeting today. There's a lot of rumors swirling. This could be the Vols guy.
Well, think about it. I mean, Appalachian State to UCLA is kind of a weird transfer. Appalachian State to Knoxville feels a lot more like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. But, I mean, what are the odds of, when Nico hits the portal, and I think we all knew most likely where he would land, out west somewhere, and that was UCLA. Now Tennessee's got their quarterback. That's just today's day and age.
Is that a done deal, Billy, or is that your?
It's not done, but I would be willing to bet a lot of money that gets done soon.
Yeah, the question at this point would be, why wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're Tennessee, and I'm sure we'll talk about this with Tony tomorrow, how do you feel as a Tennessee fan? Are you looking at this going, here we go, Aguilar over Nico? Or are you kind of, he came from App State?
I watched him play at App State when he was when Jameson was at Troy. They were in the championship game, in the Sun Belt championship game, and he's not a bad player. It rained, so I don't think you really got to see what he was about. But he's a big kid. He can throw it. So I don't know. I'm sure you could do worse if you're UT.
You absolutely could. Apparently, over the weekend, it was discovered that they attempted to take TCU's quarterback, Josh Hoover, and bring him to Knoxville. Apparently, they offered him a lot of money. He said no. So they obviously tampered with a few guys. Didn't work out, but looks like they may land Joey Aguilar. So
now wait a minute. If they've put their name in the portal, it's not a tamper.
No, but I'm saying Hoover was at TCU. He wasn't in the portal. Word on the street is that Tennessee offered him a lot of money over the weekend.
Gotcha.
Speaking of Tennessee, they picked up a huge basketball talent. 5-star Nate Ament committed to Tennessee over the weekend. He's the highest rated prospect to commit in program history. 6'9", 185 pounds, so a little lean, but a 6'11" wingspan. He's the number 4 overall prospect in the country, and he chose Tennessee over Duke, Kentucky, Arkansas, Louisville. This is a
lot of the blue bloods.
Massive get.
Yeah.
That they obviously had to pay huge money for. So that happened over the weekend as well. The volunteer baseball team, though, lost 2 out of 3 to Kentucky. They lost game 3 yesterday, 8-2. They will play Baton Rouge, play LSU in Baton Rouge this weekend in a top 10 showdown. Tennessee now ranked number 6 in the top 25, but Vandy was the story over the weekend. They sweep Georgia here at Hawkins Field in Nashville. They won 3-1 Thursday, 13-7 Friday, and then 5-2 on Saturday to finish a sweep. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No, because Georgia has been mashing it. Vandy had a left-hander, J.D. Thompson, pitch as well as I've ever seen him pitch. He had 14 strikeouts Thursday night. I went to the Thursday game. This doesn't guarantee that they're going to host a regional, but if the season stopped today, it's now a certainty they would.
They're number 3 in the RPI rankings. They're number 9 overall in the D1 baseball top 25. They will travel to Oxford to face Ole Miss next weekend in a big series. So all of a sudden, I mean, because you mentioned it, going into this weekend, Georgia had hit 100 home runs, Vandy at 32. Wow. That's a mismatch, but Vandy gets it done. They pitched really well the entire weekend, and they had a light bank go out on Friday night, and it delayed the game for over an hour. And it didn't end up being done until late, I think close to midnight. And it was a 5-hour game, but they ended up getting that done. And Brody Johnson had a couple of home runs in that one. He's starting to become a star that they expected. So Vandy sweeps Georgia. Staying in the sport of baseball, Ronald Acuna Jr. in the news. He watched with interest as Jared Kelenic was thrown out at second base after failing to hustle out of the batter's box in the Braves win over the Twins on Saturday night. So Acuna went to social media and criticized how Brian Snitker handled the situation. Acuna replied to a post on Twitter by reporter Mark Bowman yesterday when Bowman was asked whether Snitker had commented on Kelenic. Bowman posted that Snitker protected Kelenic by replying, "Was I supposed to?" when asked if he had to say anything to Kelenic. Acuna then replied to Bowman's post. He said, "If it were me, they would take me out of the game."
Okay. You want me to get into this?
Get into it.
Okay. First of
Please.
all, Brian Snitker, in his tenure as the Braves manager, has really been good in media situations.
Yep.
He's probably been as good as you could humanly be. But his answers to this situation were downright stupid.
Was I supposed to? What?
And I'm one of Snitker's biggest fans. Yeah, he's got certain bullpen issues that sometimes are hard to figure out. But I'm one of his biggest fans, and he has botched this. First of all, Jared Kelenic isn't worth it. Jared Kelenic, now I will say this for Kelenic. He at least sort of fessed up to the whole problem, went into Snitker yesterday and said, it will never happen again. But the problem is that the Braves have had a couple, three of these over the years, and Acuna was one, Marcell Ozuna was one, trying to think who the third one was. And so it's raised the question, what was different about this one? Snitker's answer was, I didn't see it. And I'm like, you're the manager. That answer doesn't work. And again, I'm one of Snitker's biggest fans, but his responses to this are downright stupid.
Yeah, I mean, for him to say, "Was I supposed to?" You know, was he supposed to talk to Count? Well, I mean, that's pretty obviously he didn't hustle through there on that hit. So
when Acuna is ready to come back, the likelihood is that Jared Kelenic, who has been a complete bust, the Braves put a lot into going to get him a year ago, and he has been a complete dud. He needs to figure out where Gwinnett is, because that's his future home if he doesn't start hitting.
Well, former Brave, Max Fried, he lost. I don't know if y'all were watching at all. He lost a no-hit bid in yesterday's win over the Rays in a little bit of controversy. I'm sure Yankee fans not happy with it, but just as the bottom of the eighth was about to start, the official scorer changed a sixth-inning call to a hit after originally calling it an error. You had a rookie, Chandler Simpson, hit a grounder into the hole between first and second with one out in the sixth inning and reached when the ball bounced off the glove of first baseman Paul Goldschmidt, but official scorer Bill Matthews at first called the play an error. When he looked at several video replays, he determined that the runner would have been beaten by any throw to first. So no more no in the eighth inning.
So being an official scorer in baseball is a really hard job.
Yeah.
And when you get one of those that's a tight deal, you know, they'll talk to people. They'll even go to the manager, the player, the whatever, to say, level with me. You know, would you have beaten it out? Or would you, it is a tough job. And I'll be honest, I would not, even though I think I know baseball and I know it pretty well, I would not want that job.
Because you gotta call it something quick, right? You can't leave it. I mean, you've got to write something down. So it's not like you're just gonna. You
got to write something down, but you can change it. And let me say this, Billy, there have been delays in calling it. As an official scorer starts looking at replays, he may call down into the dugout to talk to somebody. It's a hard job. By the way, Max Fried is such a stud.
That still hurts seeing him with the Yankees.
Oh, it hurts me badly.
Well, we've got some NBA playoffs tonight, and some news. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are both cleared to play for the Nuggets in Game 2 against the Clippers tonight. So good news for the Nuggets. And I did see where the Bucks The Milwaukee Bucks have upgraded Damian Lillard to questionable for Game 2 tomorrow. So you might see Damian Lillard in Game 2 for the Bucks. That's what you've got in the NBA. Pistons and Knicks at 6:30. Clippers and Nuggets tonight at 9.
Both of which ought to be really good games. You want to see a crowd get into it? Watch that first game. The Garden will be hopping. There is no better environment in the NBA than Madison Square Garden in late April and May if they're making a playoff charge. Spike Lee's on row one. And I'll admit, I love watching NBA playoff basketball from the Garden. Those people take it serious. Maybe a little.
The NBA playoffs is a little bit better than regular season because I can't watch a regular season game. But when they know that they're playing for something and they might have a chance, just a shot at a championship, I mean, the intensity picks up. It's just like that in every other sport, but it especially picks up in the NBA.
Cool. Picks up in the NHL as well. You had a few games last night. Canes beat the Devils 4-1. Maple Leafs over the Senators 6-2. Golden Knights beat the Wild 4-2.
All the favorites won yesterday.
Tonight, Canadians and Caps, Blues at the Jets, Avalanche at the Stars, and the Oilers at the Kings.
Remember, you heard this. There will be at least one underdog who wins tonight.
You've got Colorado is favored over the Stars. You've got Edmonton favored over the Kings. Montreal, the Washington's favored over the Canadiens. Sorry. So, who's your pick? Who would be your?
Well, I can't give that away. I mean, plaster better a day later. Yeah, I mean,
you've done it before. You've done it before.
Yeah, you have. Don't act like you haven't.
You just stay out of this.
I got to ask y'all a question. Did I see something where the Cincinnati Reds scored a huge amount of runs yesterday?
They scored 24, and I didn't see the box score.
That's what I thought.
If they brought in a non-relief pitcher. So
it doesn't look like they did. Suter.
I thought about your boy. I thought about your boy Eric when he's talking about the Reds all the time. I thought about him when I saw the 24 post up on that. And I was like, is that right?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So years ago, my buddy Jeff Francoeur got to come in and pitch in a game. He had been lobbying forever. And of course he has he had a great right field arm. And he plucked, help me. I'm having a senior moment. The Lipscomb catcher.
Caleb Joseph.
So he hits Caleb Joseph. And Kelly, I called him the next morning and lit him up. I said, you do not hit people from Nashville. You apologize. So he goes up to Caleb the next day and is like, do you know this clown? And Caleb's like, oh, yeah, I've been to a Preds game with him, which I'm sure crushed Jeff. But anyway, that's the kind of stuff that goes on.
That's what I got.
Okay. It was not a bad update.
Not bad,
Billy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. After the break, we will go out west and talk with Antonio Morales, who covers the UCLA Bruins for The Athletic. So out to Los Angeles. Kelly is in parts unknown, looking like he's in a cave. But in radio, I guess that can work. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Manufacturing and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to thegamenashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Choice of bump music you can check out anytime you like, but according to the song, you can never leave. Just thought I'd share that. Okay, let's get sort of the latest on the Nico Iamaleava deal. It looks like it's UCLA. One of the people who has written extensively about this is Antonio Morales from The Athletic, and he joins us by phone. Antonio, thanks for taking the time.
No problem. Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
Good, good. As you can imagine, this thing has caused quite the stir in this area. In your opinion, what will the long-term ramifications for college sports, college football be that Tennessee told Nico to take a hike?
I think it'll dissuade some players from doing it and trying to do what Nico did. But I also think at some point there's going to be someone who's better than Nico who tries it, and then some team's going to have to pay. Like, what if, not saying Jeremiah Smith would do this, but what if Jeremiah Smith did it? Like, Ohio State would gladly pay that probably. So I think the blueprint is there, but the person who tried it this time around wasn't probably the most ideal person. And the way they went about it, like they didn't go about it in the smartest fashion either, Nico or his handlers. So I think that the blueprint is there if somebody wants to try it, but I don't know if like just Nico and his family just did it in the most the sloppiest way possible. So it's hard to kind of, say, oh, that's not going to work in the future, because it might. Somebody more talented and somebody might have a better approach to it in the future.
The number 1.7 million has been thrown out there a bunch, that's what he's getting at UCLA. Best as you can tell, is that pretty close to correct?
I haven't talked to anybody at UCLA to kind of confirm that. I know I've talked to people who have dealt with UCLA in the quarterback kind of landscape, the quarterback recruiting world, and I don't like they were guessing that like Nico probably wouldn't get 2 from UCLA, just based off of the conversations they've known UCLA to have during the winter portal cycle, when they were looking for QBs, and so I don't think it would be 2 right now. I don't think it would be more than 2, and obviously that's less than what he was making at Tennessee. So I think, and then the other thing is UCLA's fan base is kind of like non-existent for football. They don't have like a passionate donor base. Like it's a basketball school, and they're just not aggressive with NIL to begin with. And like I know that was one of the things that Sean Foster wanted to fix when he took over. They've made some progress, I think, but I don't know if they're going to be throwing around $4 million in NIL or anything like that. So, I just have a hard time seeing him making what he was making in Tennessee. And then you kind of the fact that cost of living in Southern California is much higher than it is in Nashville.
Not to mention state income tax considerations. Antonio, the whole, and I guess this is the perfect time to bring it up. A year and a half, 2 years ago, UCLA was pretty public about the debt they were incurring in college athletics, and a lot of people feel that ultimately that was the reason that they went to the Big Ten, was they simply were getting more money, even though geographically it makes no sense whatsoever. Has the Bruin Nation stepped up to that level in the collectives where UCLA now really does not have money trouble?
I don't think that's been solved. I think they still have to pay Cal like $10 million a year just because the UC Regents didn't like that they left Cal, which is like their sister school, behind. So they still have to owe Cal a bunch of money every year, and help Cal kind of pay for the terrible ACC contract that they have. I don't think the financial issues are solved just yet. I mean, we'd had to see them. Chip Kelly left, and then we had to kind of see them go inexperienced and kind of cheaper with the quarterback, with the coach hire, with Deshaun Foster. So I don't think those issues are solved yet. And we've seen, obviously Chip Kelly left to become offensive coordinator at Ohio State, and I don't think those issues are solved yet. That's why it's curious that Nico's going there. Like I said, it's not like an aggressive, super abundant NIL, like a robust NIL fund they have or something like that. So I think it was just more like right place, right time for UCLA if you're looking for a quarterback, because Nico didn't have much leverage.
Let me ask this last thing, and then I'll turn it to Kelly Holcomb. In the last week and a half, and given that we're so close geographically to Knoxville, we hear a lot of stuff. And one of the things you were hearing, even though I'll admit I don't buy it, was that Nico did not like the style of offense that Tennessee was running and was searching for something better. What exactly does that mean? Based on having watched UCLA a bunch, I'm kind of scratching my head going, so what's different?
Yeah, UCLA's offense has been a mess the past couple of years. It was a mess last year under Chip Kelly, and it was a mess the first year under Deshaun Foster when they hired Eric Bieniemy, and they tried to make it seem like, oh, we're going to do this pro style stuff, and it just didn't work. It's not like UCLA didn't have players either. Logan Loya is a good player at receiver. He transferred to Minnesota. TJ Harden's a solid running back who transferred earlier in the offseason as well. And J. Michael Sturdivant was a good get for Florida, and he's a really talented receiver. So they had skill guys. The offensive line was a mess. The play calling wasn't very good. And, like I said, all those guys just transferred out, and they're losing their quarterback. So it's a messy offensive situation. And so Nico definitely isn't walking to a sure thing offensively. It's a first year play caller with Tino Sinceri, who did a good job at Indiana last year as the quarterback's coach and co-OC, but you're putting your hands in the first-time play caller. So I think there are legitimate questions about Tennessee's offense, and I know not in terms of does it work in college or not, but in terms of does it prepare for the NFL. Because I know the people from that Baylor system that Heupel likes, that Baylor system hasn't really translated to the NFL super well. But in terms of if it works in college, it sure does. And so what he's walking into a complete unknown at UCLA. And I just haven't bought that messaging to where like, oh, the offense is such a concern at Tennessee that he has to go to UCLA, because there's way more concerns at UCLA than there is at Tennessee.
Antonio Morales from The Athletic is on the line with us talking about the UCLA situation with Nico. Kelly, what do you got for him?
Antonio, I just I'm thinking to myself when y'all were talking, does it scare? And you just talked about the fan base, and I can remember Troy Aikman talking about the fan base a long time ago, because he played out there and he got on to them one time because they're kind of the sister child of the other team out there. But like, has it scared people that, maybe you're getting a quarterback for 1 year, but like this is probably a stepping stone for him going somewhere else to maybe a top 25 NIL payday somewhere else? So is that scared people, or have people thought about that?
No, I don't think they've thought about it yet. I think they're still trying to kind of come to grips or kind of grasp what's going on with their quarterback situation first, because it was supposed to be Joey Aguilar, then the App State transfer, and then all of a sudden it's Nico. And it kind of took Nico a couple of days to kind of officially announce, even though reporting was out there last week that he was expected to transfer to UCLA, and he didn't announce till yesterday. So I think they're still kind of coming to grips with the change and what it means, and if they could add any more talent. I think they're still kind of figuring out how it's going to work and what to make of the whole situation.
With the state of college football and college sports, do you think anybody cares anymore? Do you think Deshaun Foster just thinks, hey, I'm getting this guy for 1 year and then we'll just worry about it after this? Is that where the state of college sports is now?
I think people care, and I remember, but I think it depends on who's in the running and who's in contention for it. I asked the head of an NIL collective that I know that Saturday when it was clear that, hey, this relationship between Nico and Tennessee is going to end. I was like, would you have concern about bringing him into the locker room? And they said, like, and I think the kind of theme from all this is like people said Nico's fine. It's just, the people around Nico, it's Nico's circle that's causing a lot of issues. They're like, I don't know if the kid's making that decision to kind of drive this thing. And so, if we get to know the kid, maybe it'll be different. And it's like mainly the people around him. They're like, and we don't know the full story. So they're just saying, like, I want to have any issue bringing him in because we don't know the full story yet. And it's obviously the kid's family has a lot of say in it. Like, what if the kid is fine in the locker room? So I think some people will brush it off and say, hey, that was in the past. That didn't happen here. And there'll be some who do have reservations about it.
Well, that was kind of the question I was going to ask you, so you just answered that. But I want to know this because, with all this conference realignment stuff that's going on, and I've used this several times with people I've talked to, and you're a guy on the West Coast, so I just hope people came to another sense about like UCLA and USC having to go across the country with their women's volleyball team or something like that. It just seems ludicrous to me What do people out there think about going to the Big Ten? I know it's a big conference, and I understand that that's where we're heading right now. But like, what do people out there think about that? Because you got moms and dads of kids on the team, and they've got to, I don't know where they are, but they've got to fly out somewhere, or it's just across the country, and it just seems odd to me, and I think it seems odd to everybody. So, what is your sense about everybody's thoughts about that on the West Coast?
Yeah, I predominantly covered USC the past couple of years, but I know they were excited about the move because they had grown tired of like the Pac-12 and the officiating and all that stuff. And, they go into the Big Ten and there's no like layups in the Big Ten like there were in the Pac-12. I thought the Pac-12 was a good conference, but like some years you're just going to have like a really bad Colorado team or a really bad Arizona team that wins 1 or 2 games. But it's like a sure win. And this year, like USC lost to like Maryland and Minnesota on the road. So it's like those aren't easy games, and so like they kind of got a rude awakening this year, and then they found out like the officiating wasn't much better. So it's like they have to deal with this travel and this more gauntlet of a schedule than they're used to in the Pac-12, and then I think they like the matchups. They're still kind of getting used to like, hey, no conference is perfect. So they kind of saw the other side of it this year as opposed to like, oh, these big helmet games like USC Michigan or USC Penn State. They saw all sides of it this year. And I think kind of heard more grumbling from the fan bases like during basketball season when these teams were traveling a lot more and all that stuff. And I think like when I look at college baseball and what's going on, and it's like, oh man, USC is playing like at Nebraska or something recently, and you're like, man, how much sense does that really make to have happen? Like the Big Ten isn't even really known as a baseball conference, and then you have the Pac-12 that just kind of had to die when it was a great baseball conference in the past. So it's like, what's this travel for, and does this all make sense? And I think we'll probably start to hear more and more grumblings about that in the future.
Antonio, appreciate you taking the time. All of a sudden, there's a lot of smoke with Joey Aguilar potentially heading to Tennessee, as we brought up in the update, which would basically be a trade, a modern-day college football trade, Nico Iamaleava for Joey Aguilar. What do you know about, obviously, Aguilar was set to be UCLA's starter. At what point, did you recognize a point where Aguilar, in his camp might potentially think about transferring, or was this totally after the Nico acquisition for UCLA?
Yeah, at first I was talking to people like who know him. They're like, yeah, he's gonna stay and compete for the job. And I was like, okay. Like when I wrote that, I was like, well, things could always change. And this quarterback world is very delicate. These quarterbacks, sometimes they get offended, sometimes they don't. And sometimes people around them talk to them enough to where like, okay, we need to change the situation. So like his initial intention was to stay at UCLA and compete for the job, but after the Nico stuff kind of got finalized this past weekend, he had a serious talk with some people around him, and he's entering the portal. And I'm curious to kind of see where he goes. I know he only has 1 year left, so do you kind of want to run that risk and transfer to Tennessee when Tennessee has guys who have been in the system and will have more experience with Heupel and all that stuff? When it's your last year and you're no guarantee to win the competition, or would you go to like Tulane or something that has a kind of open quarterback role and might have a good chance for you, and you've done well in the G5 level before? So that'll be interesting to watch. I know there's risks with every situation, so I'm kind of curious to see. But he's an experienced guy who will be in his 6th year, I believe, and he started the past 2 years at App State. So he's kind of like the best on the market right now. So I'm kind of curious to see what he wants from his next situation.
Antonio, appreciate you taking the time to come on with us, give us kind of the latest on the situation. Thank you, and look forward to reading more about what you'll put out there in the coming weeks.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Antonio Morales from The Athletic joining us here on the show. So Nico now at UCLA, and we've got that part of it done. It looks like the other shoe is likely to drop with Joey Aguilar headed probably to Knoxville. We'll go to the break. We'll have some reaction when we come back. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Flat Rock Motor Club is a members-only driving resort combining a world-class racetrack with exquisite amenities. Located on 800 acres of pristine countryside in the heart of Tennessee, their elite 3.5-mile club track is surrounded by sweeping views of manicured rolling hills. The charm of Tennessee can be felt with every hill you climb. Whether your beverage of choice is sweet tea or whiskey, at their premier driving resort, you will experience a sophisticated blend of country elegance and southern hospitality. For more information, log on to flatrockmotorclub.com.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
And 94.9 The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay. For you who are watching by way of podcast, this will work a lot better than if you're hearing it on radio. Billy, if you will, put that Rose Bowl picture back up there. Okay, so what Billy's got is an empty picture of the Rose Bowl with the tarp in the end zone, big old blue tarp that says UCLA. It is, when it's full, it's one of the all-time great venues in football in this country, the Rose Bowl. But when it's empty, Kelly, it just looks like a mess.
Yeah, bad, man. And that's why I asked him, because I remember Troy Aikman talking about it. He blasted the UCLA fans and the organization a couple of years ago about they have no support. They have no fan support. You know, it's kind of, you know, USC is the place to go. But like UCLA, I mean, that's where Troy Aikman went after he left Oklahoma, after Barry Switzer and all that. And he went out there and he played really well. But they just have no fan support. And I'm wondering, like, you kind of said it, George. It doesn't make sense to me. Like they use the excuse of, well, Josh Heupel lied to us about the offense and all this, and they're going to an offense now at UCLA that is way worse than what UT was. And there's no stability there. I'm not sure Deshaun Foster is going to get it done there. And that's why I said, does anybody care? Do the fans care that you might be getting Nico for 1 year because he's already shown? I don't know if he's pulling the strings, and we say he's probably not. It's probably his dad. But now they want money, and they want a lot of money. And still, if he did get 1.7, I still think that's outrageous for a college athlete. But I mean, he was making 2.4 at UT, and I'm not sure. It would bother me as a coach to go out and get a guy that I think might be there for 1 year and is using me to maybe have a stepping stone to another top 25 or a playoff, one of the 12 playoff teams. It would bother me, and I think Antonio kind of said it for me when he talked about, we don't know how it's going to be in the locker room. We don't know what kind of guy he is until we actually find out. So that would just worry me as a head coach. It really would, George.
So here's sort of the history lesson about USC and UCLA. Both of them used to play at the old Coliseum, which was, by the way, the site of the 1932 Olympics. When they renovated, and they've renovated this thing a bunch, USC decided to stay there. And by the way, only in the big games do you see the USC crowds get into the 70 and 80,000. You'll see some non-conference duds that'll give you the look of 46 and change. And UCLA moved out to the Rose Bowl. Now, I'm no expert about the geographics, but I know where UCLA is located, and it's nowhere close to the Rose Bowl. And so they have a very difficult time, especially by that picture that Billy is showing, with student participation.
Yeah.
It's a good little ways away. So here's Nico going from this rabid,
fan base,
Tennessee fan base that's 100,000 plus strong that he probably never had dealt with, to sort of this, if the weather's right, I'd rather go water skiing, Southern California. And it'll be interesting.
Nico is not the type, to help fix this attendance issue for UCLA. You would think, maybe a 5-star quarterback could help, but I don't think Nico is that kind of guy right now. I don't think, and then maybe this provides some excitement. I'm sure it will. He's from California, be playing the Rose Bowl. UCLA, they were 5-7 last year, though. Kelly talked about their offense. They were awful. I mean, they were nothing to write home about. And now Nico's going there, and he might perform well, but we know what he's about. It's not like this is some savior of UCLA football that's going to bring all kinds of fans to Los Angeles and to the Rose Bowl.
Although you would think in sort of natural progression that he's going to get better.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think he's got to get better. He truly does, because accuracy was not his strength. We found out how tough he was in the Ohio State game because he was getting beat up quite a bit. Now, he's a tough kid, but if you're going to go to the next level, you got to be accurate throwing the football, and you've got to work. And I mean, we'll see. He's young. He was young last year, and we can't forget that. I mean, it takes some time to play and get some experience under your belt. But I mean, some guys got it, and I'm just not sure. And I think Antonio said it perfectly. I don't know if this guy moved the needle any with this. I don't think he was the guy. There's going to be some guy that does that comes out and says, hey, I want $4 million, and they're going to get it because they're good. But he was not that guy, and I'm not sure what you're getting right now if you're Deshaun Foster and the UCLA coaching staff.
So let me go back to the first question I asked him, which is, okay, now we've had, for the first time in NIL, a very public holdout. And we've had a lot of goofy crap going on behind the scenes where quarterbacks will suddenly in the middle of the season say, I'm doing pretty damn well. Give me some more money. And that kind of thing has gone on all over the country. But this was the first public holdout. I'll admit up front, I thought Tennessee would give into it. I thought they would pay the ransom and be done with it. They didn't. We'll see how that works. And while Tennessee's being praised right now, we all know if the quarterback situation gets a little messy and they do something like 6-6 or 7-5, a lot of the people who have been cheering this will turn. It can get a little phony. But what I want to know is, what do y'all think will be the ultimate landscape now that a school has told a quarterback, hit the road?
I think it depends on the player. And Antonio said it, and once again, perfectly, because I don't think Nico was that guy, but there's going to be some guy that comes around like a Jaden Daniels or somebody that can play, and he's going to say, hey, if you're not going to do this, I want more money. I need more money to play. And somebody's going to do it, and it's going to be the right person, and then we're going to see just how far it goes. But I'm like you, George. I think, I know Billy said it, but all three of us I thought Tennessee would give in. I really did. But the general said it the other day. I mean, he's been it takes a while to learn an offense. And I don't know if you can do it in 1 year. The Aguilar kid that's coming in, if he does go there, I mean, he's kind of behind the 8 ball because he missed spring. Now he's got to catch up. And it's like it takes a year. It takes a couple of years to get comfortable with everything because you just don't know it. And Nico's going out to UCLA, so he's not going to set the world on fire to begin with. And I'm thinking the same thing. Like it's free agency in football, but is it killing the productivity of the game? Is it killing what's on the field when you got a guy staying for a year and then going somewhere else, and then you go out and get somebody? Well, he can't learn it in that amount of time. I just think that's where people are going to start seeing the production on the field kind of go down.
This is kind of an anomaly, and it might be an anomaly. Who wants to lose their quarterback in spring? Nope, nobody.
Nobody. No.
So I think you could take out the Nico situation, Georgia. I would say I don't know that it changes a ton. I think this was stupid. I mean, it was not well handled by Nico's camp. Obviously, Tennessee is at fault a little bit as well. But number one, it shouldn't have happened. But number two, even if it were to continue to happen, and it could have happened in a more efficient manner. So I think it was just dumb all around, and now it kind of reorganizes the quarterback carousel a little bit now with Aguilar on the move. By the way, Tennessee, Tulane, and Wake Forest are some schools to watch for Aguilar. So that tells you a little bit about the pond Tennessee swimming in now.
Tennessee,
Tulane, and Wake Forest. So sure, you'd think Tennessee gets him between those two schools.
Well, yeah. I mean, what kind of environment will you get? Tulane's got a little 28,000 seat cracker box, and Wake Forest is at about 32,000. And we know what Neyland Stadium is. But Kelly, you brought up a really good point a minute ago that I had not thought about, which is, okay, let's just use this kid Aguilar as the potential replacement.
Yeah.
If you're Heupel and you know he's coming in on Monday, over the last 3 days, haven't you been in a room with the offensive staff saying, hey, look at his stuff. Let's see what he was most effective doing there.
Oh, yeah.
And let's think about incorporating it to try to bridge that time that it would take for him to get comfortable.
Absolutely. I mean, they've looked at all his film, I'm sure. They've looked at every snap that he's taken. They look at what he does good, what he does well, what he doesn't do so good. And then, hey, I can remember this about Tom Moore. And I'm reading his book, but Tom had a story about Chuck Noll, and he was going to when he had just gotten on the staff at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were going to coach the Senior Bowl, and they were in there talking about this and talking about that, and what are we going to do and what are we going to do about this? And Chuck Noll walks into the room and he said, "What do you mean? What are you going to do?" He's like, "You have no clue what your kids can do because you hadn't even had one practice with them. So how are you going to say that you're going to do this when you don't know if the kids can do that?" And that's a very important lesson. I mean, you've got to see what kids, and that's why I think coaches nowadays, coaches want you to fit their program instead of them fitting to what you can do. I'm seeing that more and more. And if they don't like it, then they'll just go out somewhere and get somebody that can. But like, you have to see what your kids can do and what a quarterback is comfortable with. And that was a great thing about Bruce. Every Saturday morning, we practiced all week, but he would come in and he would say, "Hey, if there's something you do not like, tell me because I won't run it. I'm not the one playing, you are." And you don't get many dudes doing that. You don't get many coaches saying that because they get so hard-headed and they like this play, and you might not like the play, but they love it and they're going to call it. Well, if the quarterback doesn't have confidence in that play, he's not going to like it. And my first couple of meetings, I was like, is Bruce serious with this? And then I finally started telling him, "Hey, man, I don't like this, this, and this." And he was like, "We won't run it." He was truthful about that. But, it's hard. The game is hard enough. And if you're doing something that he can't do, then you're behind the 8 ball, and you're already behind the 8 ball because you lost your quarterback in spring, and he got all those reps. And now you're looking for somebody. It's a tough situation that Tennessee's in. And I'm starting to think a little bit more like Urban Meyer. I don't know if they're in a pit right now, but with all the experience that Nico had the last couple of years with learning the offense and being there, I mean, they're in a tough situation right now, George.
So let me ask you this, off what you've seen at App State, because I've watched them a decent amount as well. It doesn't feel like it's all that different from what Tennessee
he's a good player.
was.
He's a good player now. He's big. He can throw. He can sling the ball now. He'll sit in the pocket. He can throw the ball. I don't remember. I don't, because it was pouring down rain that day, George, and it was tough to kind of focus on anything because it was pouring down rain. It would rain and then it would stop and then it would rain. So he didn't get to throw the ball all that much. And Troy's defense was really good. They were hitting him a couple of times, but he stood in the pocket. I don't know how good of a runner he is because I can't remember that, but he's an athletic kid. And I mean, you could do a lot worse, as I told y'all earlier. You can do a lot worse than getting the young kid from App State. He was and App State, that Sun Belt Conference, there's competition in that conference, and he's not going to miss a beat if he goes to Tennessee, I promise.
So, Billy, I've let this segment go a little longer. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Well, first of all, during the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to meet the new Nashville Cats quarterback, Tyler Kulka.
Yeah.
Who has come in and in 2 weeks really gotten their offense humming. He has played terrific football, but there's a lot more we're going to get into than just terrific football on the arena front. He has played a little bit of everywhere, including Japan. Now, Kelly, where all did you play that wasn't in the United States?
I played in NFL Europe. It was actually the World League of American Football when I played, and then they renamed it to NFL Europe. But I went over to Barcelona. I was in Barcelona, Spain. That's where we were, and you guys saw that a couple of years ago when we had one of your friends on, and he went to Barcelona, and I brought my helmet out and all that stuff.
Oh,
I don't know if y'all remember that.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But it was a good time. But I only stayed over there for 3 months. We got to go to Frankfurt, Germany, and Dusseldorf, Germany, and England, and it was a pretty cool deal. We got to go to Scotland. I think they had 6 teams over there. I think it was a Rhine Fire as well. So it was fun to go over and experience life and experience the world. That was pretty cool, playing a sport that you love and you're just trying to make it. And I'm interested to talk to him because he seems like he's been all over the place too. And hey, your dream, you always go after your dream, and he's certainly done that.
So he sent me a text a few minutes ago. "Hey, George, traffic has added 15 minutes to my drive. Welcome to Nashville. It says I'm going to be there at 4:05, trying to get there ASAP." So, Billy, being of sound mind and body, I sort of, slow played this last segment. So after the break,
time only has been called.
The tarp is on the field, but time only has been called. Every effort will be made to play today's game. The Atlanta Braves appreciate your patience. Yeah, sure they do.
It's hilarious.
Okay. After the break, we'll go stat of the day. which in recent weeks has not been all that successful. We've had a little bit of a dry spell. The questions have been absurd. There have been some very difficult questions.
Could have been an open book test and we wouldn't have passed it.
We'd have been here till midnight on a couple. No, you lighten up. You sit back there with the answer in front of you. I'd love to flip the wall and see how that would work.
Billy,
Either
just
way,
shut up.
Either way, this is 94.9 The Fan.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
This is Joe and Q.
There's some basic stuff out there that organizations don't get. Everyone in life thinks it's always about making the best possible decision. How about this? Try to not make the worst possible decision. Do that. Go through your life trying to not make bad decisions. Don't worry about making great decisions. Avoid bad decisions and see how well your life turns out. It'll go pretty well.
Joe and Q, weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show. How well do you know Stephen A. Smith, man?
Very well.
Okay, so like when you walk down the hallway and you see him, you kind of like nod your head back like, what's up?
I would say if Stephen A. Smith got married, I wouldn't be an usher, I wouldn't be a groomsman, but I probably would be able to park cars.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and on the SEC network.
Earlier on Clinton and Friends.
Rory's life had become this sort of Truman Show style event. So for him to finally be able to achieve the goal on what is absolutely the biggest stage in golf, don't get it twisted. That was a good moment. That was a good moment for Rory. That was a good moment for golf. And that was a good moment for sports. Good for Rory, man.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Amber and Ian.
Just to get it all caught up. We got the about to be 6-year-old. We got the 6-month-old. We got 2 out of 3 goldfish. We've added the puppy waiting on the partridge in a pear tree. Damn, woman, you got a lot going on.
We do have a lot going on. We rescued a puppy. We also have a almost 14-year-old dog. This is going to be an adjustment period. But yes, we are living in a house of chaos.
Amber and Ian, weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on Sirius XM Channel 80.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're talking with Nashville Cats quarterback Tyler Kulka.
Only when he gets here.
When he gets here.
Yeah.
Coming up. But first,
he's experiencing Nashville traffic.
Yes. Welcome to Nashville.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Stat of the Day is brought to you by Apple Collision Center. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right. We are going with some NBA playoffs today. The Thunder demolished the Grizzlies by 51 yesterday. However, two teams...
So that if you had Memphis plus 50, too bad. You lose.
That's tough. However, two teams have won a playoff game by 58 points. Can you name either team?
Oh, good Lord.
By 58 points exactly. That's oddly...
58 points. I'm going to say Golden State.
Oh, hold on. Let's think this through for a second.
Last couple of years, they've had some situations in the playoffs where it seems like guys just get down early and they just kind of quit in that game.
Move on to the next game.
Yeah.
Kind of like we need to move on to the next question.
Seriously.
So this is not good radio. Not, dead air is not good. But I'm trying to think. I don't know why I'm thinking the Milwaukee Bucks are in the middle of this.
Really?
But I have no idea. And why should I know? No one in their right mind should know. Billy, reveal.
It's probably like the Cavaliers or somebody. It's crazy. I'm going to say Golden State on one of them.
Okay, I like that. It's a safe pick.
The Nuggets and the Lakers.
And whom did they squash?
I don't know.
Yeah, Billy. Since you're so smart about everything, tell us.
Wow.
I don't do the stat of the day, but.
Oh, is that right? But you like to laugh about it, and you like to say, "Oh, that's easy. That's no problem."
Yeah.
Okay. Save it, Billy.
Your time will come.
Y'all can do better though. I mean, this.
Okay, read what you got.
The Nuggets beat the Hornets by 58 in their 2009 playoff series, with the Nuggets winning 121-63.
So they were the Hornets back then.
Yes.
Yeah. Which they deserve to. If you get beat by 58, should you just be thrown out immediately and the other team gets a bye?
Yes.
I agree. Probably doesn't work for gate receipts, but keep going. What was the other one?
Let's see.
I think you ought to get a suspension for a year. You've been revoked.
It looks like the Lakers won by 58 against the St. Louis Hawks in 1956.
Now, we're supposed to know something like that was 68 years, 69 years ago.
No, this question was tough. I'm talking about some of the past ones.
Well, first of all, Kelly and I do not care what you think. Okay.
Y'all have been quick to the trigger.
We've been very quick to the trigger. So God only knows where Tyler Kulka is. He's learning about Nashville traffic. So let's sort of stall around for a few minutes, give him kind of time to breathe. He's not, to my knowledge, not here yet. But
George, he might have gone to the Fordyce Center in Antioch, like myself.
Yes, and
if that's the case, he will not make it by the allotted time.
Did you specify Bellevue?
Yes, I did, Billy.
Okay, good.
Billy, I know how to run this show. Okay, I'm shocked that you would ask that question. Here were the words in the text. You ready?
Yep.
Tyler, you'll be coming to the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. And he apparently is here. So don't know if that's him back there or not. Yeah. Okay. So he's gonna come join us here in just a second.
He's wearing a shirt.
Oh, I love it. I love it. This will absolutely send Kelly into apoplexy.
It will.
Come on up here, Tyler. This is going to be fabulous.
He's going to hate this.
Kelly will go absolutely nuts when he sees this.
If it's what I think it is, oh my gosh, dude, are you kidding?
Go ahead, tell him what you think about that.
You need to take that off immediately, Tyler. Although it is a nice looking shirt, but you should have seen some of the shirts George had in past years. It's awful. That was a good shirt.
I like.
Yeah,
I
but I
like
wouldn't.
Not gonna lie.
Anything that has George Plaster on it, though, take it out. Do not wear it ever again.
There's nothing different. I mean, you act like it's some big difference. We went gold for a couple of years when we first started it. Then we branched out to red, and then we went Columbia blue.
See?
Yeah, both bad. That one's nice.
It goes with the Nashville Cats hat. See? There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, see, there you go.
So you're wearing a lot of freebies today, are you?
I guess you could say that.
That'll tell people what it pays in the Arena Football League. Okay, so here's the deal. Tyler Kulka has been here for a couple of weeks as the Cats starting quarterback, and in that time, their offense has perked up dramatically. He has had 2 big games, and their offense has come to life because of it. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome. I love it here in Nashville.
So you've got a past that I know a little bit because I've kind of looked into it for today. Kelly has also played outside of the country.
Okay.
Besides his 56 years in the National Football League, he has played outside as well. So I thought it'd be perfect for the two of y'all to talk. Tell people going back to college a little bit of the whole Tyler Kulka resume.
Just my college career, you mean?
Where you played and then where all you've been since then.
Well, so I played my college football career at Lawrence Tech University, NAIA school. Actually started the program from scratch. We brought it back from the first time since World War II, and got to be a 5-year starter, 5-year captain, basically hold every record in their record books right now, just from getting the opportunity to start. And then came out of college and got an opportunity to go out and play in Japan to be a part of the X League, and had a lot of fun over there. Played there for 2 years, was the leading passer both years, and had a great career over there. And then got the opportunity to come here in Nashville. So it's awesome.
Okay, so Kelly's first reaction to this, and Billy put him on camera. He had never heard of football in Japan, and I'll admit until 2 weeks ago, I hadn't either. So kind of tell people what football in Japan is like and how'd you end up there?
Well, I got to give a shout out to my agent on that one, Donald Felice with Andy Sports. He kind of got me an opportunity to just go try out. So in Japan, they have kind of 2 seasons. They have like a spring season. It's kind of like an in-season tournament, but it's before the season. And they kind of have the Tokyo teams play against each other, and they have the Osaka teams play against each other. So basically before they do that tournament, they have quarterbacks or your American players come in to compete with each other. So you're only allowed 3 Americans per team. So it's kind of a lottery pick. So like he kind of got me an opportunity to go try out because the team was looking for a quarterback. And I went out and competed against KJ Carter-Samuel. Great guy. Like him a lot. He played at Colorado State. And so we competed against each other. I ended up winning the job, and kind of stayed out there for that spring and the fall. And they have that little spring season. Their big season is the fall season. So they have like a 6-game regular season in the fall, and then they play I think 8 teams make the playoffs, and they kind of play quarterfinals, semifinals, championship in the fall.
So this got Billy's antennas up. Carter Samuel's.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah, his brother played at Vandy.
Mm-hmm.
What was his first name?
What was it? AJ?
I'm forgetting his first name.
Austin
Carter
Samuels.
Yeah, and he's I think he's doing some quarterback coaching now.
Yeah, they both are together. Yep.
Yeah, but really good family. He was really good at Vandy in his 1 year under James Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot where his brother played, but yeah, Colorado State out there. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a couple of years in Japan.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to get. Oh, nice.
Yeah. See,
for those,
the league's big out there.
Yeah, for those watching, Billy has put some pictures together on the podcast. So Kelly, let's go back to you for a second. In the Europe deal, what were the biggest problems for you? Things that you had to kind of get through, before you got on the field.
I hated the food. I mean, it's an adjustment. I remember going down and making me a shake. I got some peanut butter. I think my family mailed me some peanut butter over, and they had ice cream down there, and I was drinking shakes. My wife and myself, we went because I had just gotten married not too long before I left, and she came over with me, and we went to this place that was next to the hotel that we were at. And we thought we were going to get some shrimp, and they were called prawns, and then they brought everything out, man. Like they had the eyeballs in them. Then we got some spaghetti, and the spaghetti smelled like dog food, and I'm like, it wasn't good, man. That was my whole deal. It's just a different we I don't know if you can say this on air, but our hotel was right next to a nude beach. So it was, man, being in Europe is a little different than over here, man. It was the first, we were actually above the first sports bar that was in Spain. And those people, like, they enjoy sports and they enjoy soccer. We call it soccer over here. They call it football, but they would stay up to 2 or 3 in the morning so you couldn't sleep. So it was some getting used to. I can remember them trying to Americanize the food, and they'd bring out chicken wings, and the chicken wings still had hair on it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, still had the feathers and stuff like that. It was kind of crazy, but it was a fun experience, and I enjoyed it. I went over there with Jack Bicknell. You remember who Jack Bicknell is, George?
Sure.
The old coach from Boston College. He was my head coach, and it was a fun experience, man. We only got to stay over. I didn't stay over there for 2 years. I only stayed over there for 3 months, but it was a cool experience, and you got to go around Europe and eat some good food other places. But in Spain, man, I just could not get used to the food.
Kelly, thank you. Certainly a descriptive description there. I didn't expect part of it, but we move on. So, okay, he brings up food. Was that an issue?
No, I think we talked about this before the game, right? Oh, that food in Japan. Ooh, sushi. I love sushi. So
okay, that probably helped.
Insanely fresh, and ramen is like, it's not like ramen here in America. It's kind of a delicacy over in Japan. They love it. Yeah, they had like some of the restaurants we would go to, and they would take us to. The food was great in Japan. Wagyu beef. Come on, so good.
Wow. Okay.
Wagyu beef. Nice.
Yep.
That's good stuff. And my father-in-law went over to Japan a long time ago. He started out at Nissan, and he said the food was great over there. I don't know. I just could not. I did not like the food in Spain.
Well, I didn't have that problem. Japan was awesome.
Good for you. Okay, we'll go to the break, and when we come back, we'll get into a little football kind of stuff, as in what's different in Japan than the United States. Tyler Kulka, hopefully, will have the answers. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Flat Rock Motor Club is a members-only driving resort combining a world-class racetrack with exquisite amenities. Located on 800 acres of pristine countryside in the heart of Tennessee, their elite 3.5-mile club track is surrounded by sweeping views of manicured rolling hills. The charm of Tennessee can be felt with every hill you climb. Whether your beverage of choice is sweet tea or whiskey, at their premier driving resort, you will experience a sophisticated blend of country elegance and southern hospitality. For more information, log on to flatrockmotorclub.com.
Company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back. This is Nashville Cats quarterback Tyler Kulka, who has, in 2 weeks, really killed it. And the Cats have won 2 in a row. Not only will we talk a little bit of football, but we got to talk the fact that he has played in Japan. But Kelly, we have learned something during the break that is shocking.
What's that, brother?
So when he was at Lawrence Tech, who was it you played?
Ave Maria.
Say it again.
Ave Maria.
Kelly.
Ave Maria.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing to it, but Billy, I'm sure that got you pretty excited.
Yeah, I remember the name Lawrence Tech, and I was like, that's probably not the same team. And I saw the logo, and I was like, that is the same team. I was like, when did you play at Lawrence Tech?
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler goes, 2022. That's when I graduated. So I was probably at the game that y'all ended up, because you lost, right?
Yeah, we lost.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you boo him?
No.
Tyler, Billy was a cheerleader.
Oh, really?
Okay, so tell us how Japan happened. And you brought up a league that probably none of us have heard of, the X League. Let's talk about it.
So the X League is the highest level in Japan. It's like the NFL in Japan, and they have 3 or 4 divisions in it. But basically, they have 12 teams in the top division. It's called X1 Super, as you can see on the screen. And then they have 12 teams in the lower division called X1 Area. And so basically, at the end of the year, the bottom 3 teams from X1 Super play the top 3 teams in X1 Area, and then they kind of filter it out that way. So people can jump from the lower division to higher, and then the lower teams can jump to the lower. It just depends on they play at the end of the year. And then basically it's a 6-game season. And then you have 8 teams in the playoffs. And then the championship game is played at the Tokyo Dome every year in front of maybe 40 to 50,000 fans every year.
Tokyo Dome has been the site of some NFL preseason games.
Yep.
I don't know. Is there baseball in the Tokyo Dome?
Yeah, the main main sport there is baseball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Tokyo Giants play there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so because most of us are not going to know anything, what caliber of football would you say Japan is?
Well, it's difficult to say. So I know that like when I went over there, you have like your top 3 teams, and yeah, I played for the Obik Seagulls, which, and Fujitsu and Panasonic are up there probably in the top 3 teams over there. And
can you say that name again?
Obik Seagulls. Yeah.
Let's go Seagulls.
There you go. So when I played over there, there was, I can't really comment on, but we played a bunch of D1 players like David Pindell, who plays for Elecom, who also went to UConn. And then there was a receiver that played for the Challengers. And he played for University of Louisiana Monroe, went to Akron, stuff like that. And comparatively, they would say like those top 3 teams are similar to like high level D2, small D1, kind of with the level of talent. And then it kind of drops off a little bit from there with the other teams that are in that league. But I would say the thing is Japan, obviously, your players aren't as big or as strong or as physically fast as most of your American players. But what they do really well is their fundamentals, like looking the ball in, catching it, blocking, taking the right amount of steps. Like their fundamentals are very, very good. I mean, they talk about that in baseball all the time with, the Japan teams and the American teams and stuff like that. Is they might not be as strong as physically gifted, but what they make up for is they do all of the fundamentals very well. So that's what I'll say.
Do the people, I mean, I know that there is huge support for Japanese baseball. Same way for football?
I would say it's a little bit different. And so it was funny because when my wife came and visited Japan, it was like she didn't understand. Like we would go to the store and stuff like that, and she would point out, "Oh, Obix Seagulls," and they were like, we didn't really know. But I was like, "Do you know who the LA Galaxy is?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, one of the best soccer players in the world plays for them, but you would know that it's an American soccer team, right? In the MLS." So like, it's kind of like that. I would say football in Japan is a lot like the MLS soccer is here in the States. And so like baseball is like the NFL of Japan. Like everybody knows all the baseball teams. It's very popular. I think they have their own video game, like stuff like that.
They really get into Ohtani.
Oh yeah. Oh, they do. They do. It's funny. It's funny when you go to like sporting games, sports bars and stuff like that. They have like, it's not Angels highlights, it's Ohtani highlights. So they'll show like, even if he struck out, they'll show all 4 of his at bats every game. It's kind of funny actually.
They're into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Kelly, get into where you want to go with the Japanese with him.
I want to know this. I want to know, when you get in the huddle, how do you communicate with those guys? Do they all speak English?
So that's, I think, the toughest part of being in Japan.
I never even thought about that.
Now, granted, our plays were in English, which is great. So at least that was nice for me as the quarterback, right? But like, I think the toughest part of being in Japan is like, I'm a big, like, I want to build a relationship with you. I want to be a leader for you. I want to be friends with you, right? And that's kind of what you do as a quarterback. But when you're over in Japan, that communication level isn't really there. And so I think that was really tough sometimes, where it's a lot of like body language, explaining, drawing things up on your hands, stuff like that, where it's like, I think the toughest part was like, I felt like there was a disconnect sometimes because I couldn't really communicate the way I wanted to with those players.
Did you have an interpreter? Did you have an interpreter or no?
So like we did at times, like my first year I was there, one of our receivers spoke fluent English. And so he really helped out a lot. And then the second year we were there, he had kind of went back. He actually works for the Chargers now, the LA Chargers, or the Rams, sorry, the LA Rams. And he's like doing like film with them or something like that. But then they brought in another translator, and he more helped out on the defensive side, because our American who played DB, he played at Auburn as well. And he was the one that needed to communicate with the defensive guys. Where offense, my other American, who his name's Holden Huff, he played at Boise State, and he spoke fluent Japanese pretty much. So I was able to kind of use him as my translator at times and stuff like that. So that was kind of nice.
Okay,
Good question,
what
Kelly.
so what about coaches? I mean, did you have American coaches over there, or were they Japanese coaches?
So my team was all Japanese coaches. I was lucky that my offensive coordinator, he worked in imports and exports and stuff like that. So he kind of spoke pretty good English. But yeah, like some of the coaches on the team as well, like it was tough to communicate with, just because not a lot of, I mean, people speak English a little bit, but not like I think in Europe, where it's very common where a lot of people speak English.
How much football did the players know, and is that where you kind of came in? Would you like seriously like go out there and show dudes how to run like a curl route or a slant route, or who to block, or how did all that work, man? Because this is intriguing to me. I don't. When I went over to Barcelona, that's where I played. We only had they only had 3 Americans for you on those Japanese teams. Well, we only had 3 Spaniards on our team. So most of our guys were American, so there was no communication problems. And the 2 guys that spoke Spanish, or the 3 guys that spoke Spanish, I mean, they spoke English too. So, this is intriguing to me. So I just how did you get, I want you to run a hook, or I want you to run a quick out, or I want you to run a slant route. How did all that go?
Well, I mean, I know that there's the other teams in that league, I think maybe struggle more with that, where the American players are basically coaches on the field, coaching them little things. I know with our team though, like our team was really established. It's been around for a while, and they understood. And so for me, it was just learning the little ways to call certain things, like like to say vertical is like tate in Japanese. So like things like that, you learn those little verbiages to help them understand, oh, you do this or whatever. And so they kind of figured it out, but also like they've had American quarterbacks for a while too, teaching them as well. So like I know one of my starting running back played in the CFL. And so he spoke pretty decent English, or I had a receiver that played in the spring league back when that was around in America. So like they kind of understood a little bit with that stuff. Yeah. So I didn't really have too much of an issue with that just because they've been around it for a while.
So how did your Japanese coaches, like, I know that you said they were good in fundamentals, which that's obvious. I can understand that with seeing some of the baseball stuff, but like how, as a Japanese coach, how did they learn that stuff? I mean, how long has that been going on? And like, how did they learn that stuff? Did they have some American coaches? Do they come to clinics across seas here? How does that happen?
So they do that. I think when I was there, actually, Andrew Luck came and did a whole little quarterbacks clinic or whatever when I was there, which was kind of cool. But yeah, coaches come to clinics all the time over here, and they've been doing it for a while. Actually, some of my coaches actually played in America. So like my OC, and it was playing in AFL2 or AFL2 back when that was around. And then my GM actually played in AFL2 as well. So that they kind of have been to America, played the game a little bit. And most of those guys actually were on the Obix Eagles themselves a while ago. So like, I think the team specifically started in like early 90s. So it's been around since then. And so, you know, some of those guys were on the team like from its birth and like understood football, played in the AFL2, and then came back and played for the Obix Eagles in Japan and stuff like that. So
I know you said the championship game brought 40 or 50,000 people. Like how many people did you kind of average at a game?
So like that's the crazy part. So in the regular season, you probably get maybe 4,000 fans there. It's not crazy. But then when you get to the semifinals and the championship, they all come. Like it's crazy. Like, which for me, it's like if I'm a sports fan, I want to go to all these games. Like you look at, you know, the Nashville Predators, the Detroit Red Wings or whatever, and you go watch those teams play and you're like, man, they have tons of fans every game, right? In Japan, it was like you go through the regular season, you have about 4,000 fans at every game. And then when you get to semifinals, championship, that's when you're pushing 20,000 to semifinals, 40 to 50,000 the championship game, and they fill that Tokyo Dome. Like it's crazy to me how that was always something that kind of mind boggled me. Where if like I'm a fan of a team, I'm gonna want to go to these games in the regular season, but it's just interesting. I guess that's not how it worked over there.
So when I played over there was this weird deal. I can remember the first game we had, over here people boo, over there people whistle. And I'm like, the first time I'd heard that, I asked one of the Spanish guys, I'm like, what are they doing? I'm like, why are they whistling? He was like, well, that's booing us. And I'm like, they can whistle all day if they want to. So
right.
what was something different about over there that you picked up on like that, for example, like whistling instead of booing?
So they have these little things they pass out before every game. I don't know how to describe it, but they're like little hand clapper kind of things, but it's not. But they go like this, and it makes this like.
Those are the most annoying things ever.
Yeah, they use them at baseball games too over there, but it's like a very popular thing over there. It's kind of like a hand clapper, I would say, but it's not. But it's like
a summer of cicadas.
Yeah. Right. So that's kind of their thing over there.
So I could probably ask you questions all day, man, but I'll lighten up with this
one. This is great.
When you went to Japan, man, like what did they think about you being like you're a foreigner? Like what did the people think? Are they welcoming to you? Do they stay away from you? What's the deal with that?
So that's more of how you carry yourself. So for me, like I'm a smiley, I'm a happy person. So people had no problems with me, like loved talking to me, weren't afraid of me, stuff like that. But if you go there and you're kind of more of a reserved person into yourself, they'll actually be scared of you. It's kind of how it is. It's not like they'll treat you bad or anything like that. They're almost like scared of you, where it's like if you're more happy and you smile, people aren't afraid to talk to you and help you out with things and stuff like that. It's actually kind of cool.
They'd be scared of Kelly.
Good Lord. Can you imagine him over there?
Whatever, Billy, whatever, George. So how did they do y'all's contract, man? Like did they pay for you a place to stay? Did they give you transportation? Did they buy your food? What did they do with all that?
So Japan is like one of the leagues overseas that you actually get paid pretty handsomely. So okay. I guess I'm not there anymore, so I can kind of talk a little bit more about contracts.
That's 2 years in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, basically, depending on the team you play on, I was able to they're like, here's your housing budget. You can live wherever you want. Go find yourself an apartment in this budget. And I was like, all right, cool. So that was kind of what I did, which was really nice. I ended up getting you get your own apartment, which is sweet for the 3 Americans that are there. So that was cool. And then, pay structure wise, I think I was, it's the money's just really good over there. I don't know if you get too much into like how much I was getting paid or whatever, but I mean, it's maybe just under
whatever you put
figures,
on the income taxes is the amount you better say out here.
Yeah, there you go. I'd say it's under six figures, I would say, but you're making pretty good money over there.
Oh wow, that's pretty good, man. So when you went out to a restaurant, man, was there anything that you had to do that was different? Did you have to take off shoes? Did you have to, wash your what did you have to do restaurant wise?
Depending on the restaurant, really, like some of the really fancier restaurants, you got to take your shoes off, and they give you these little slippers that you go or whatever, which is kind of interesting. And then it's like it's almost like not rude, where like you sit there at a table and they don't come to you, so you have to literally sit there when everybody's ready. You like yell, "Excuse me," to like the people out in the front, which you'd think like in the States that'd be kind of like rude or whatever. Where like, oh, they'll come back to me.
Hey, I need some food.
Exactly.
Let's go.
It's like that, like literally, like, oh, everyone, you guys ready? You guys ready? Okay, and then they're like, hey, excuse me, like they'll yell it out, like come over here now, we're ready. Like it's very interesting.
So over there was real football. Now let's kind of bring it back. So over there was real football. What has been the difference with you coming back and playing in the Arena League? How much do you have to, adapt to what they do, because it's not 11 on 11 anymore. It's a different game, and it's closer. It's really fast. How much of a change has that been for you?
Well, at first I think it was really tough. I was a little, I mean, I'll say it now, but I was a little overwhelmed at first coming to practice, and I kind of got a little taste of arena, and for me it was like, oh, this is just backyard football. And then I got here, and it was like, at first in practice I was like, oh, this is a lot faster. I'm getting the ball out is a lot faster, and it's all under center, it's actually really beneficial for like a lot of our screen games, a lot of our hitches and stuff like that, which for me, I love playing in the gun. But here, like playing in arena football, I understand why going under center is so important, because you're not going to be able to get your screens out to the outside, or you're not going to be able to throw your hitches on time. And so little things like that of getting used to the game, getting the ball out of my hands quick, and stuff like that, we're an adjustment period. But I mean, realistically, from how I've been doing, I feel like I've picked it up pretty quick, and the game has really started to slow down for me. So it's a lot of fun. My dad says it all the time. It's just like going out with your friends in the backyard and playing ball. And I was like, kind of, it's awesome.
George, people don't even understand what he just said. Like, nobody takes a snap under center anymore. That's how I grew up, and that's how you can get, you can get quick game out. Like when you're in the gun, I used to hate throwing quick game from the gun, especially in the NFL, because you want the ball, you have to look at the ball, you take your eyes off everything. So it's a tough deal. But this Arena League, I watch games, and it's pretty exciting. It's pretty fun, and I know your aspirations. Obviously, we all know the story about Kurt Warner playing for the Iowa Barnstormers back in the day, but I know that, you want to keep playing, because I'm sure you have lofty expectations or lofty dreams about going further.
Yep, of course. That's 100% the goal. And, that's one of the big reasons why I kind of have made this jump a little bit to come back to the States, is because I realize I'm 28 now, and that's the time that, Kurt Warner, I think, got in the NFL around when he was 29, something like that. And this is kind of my last kind of shot to try and get in the NFL here. And so that's been my goal ever since I was little, obviously, just like a lot of people's dreams. And I've worked really hard to do that. And so hopefully this can kind of propel me and give me that opportunity that I'm looking for.
So, dumb question, I'll admit it up front. Are there American scouts watching Japanese league football?
So that, a lot of it's just building film and having your agent kind of send it out. But yeah, not specifically. I think at times, sometimes the CFL watches it, because the CFL has a rule about international players as well. And so that they don't count towards their roster or something like that. So that's a lot of their scouting in the CFL to bring in those international players. A lot of it is Japanese players, like my running back, who was really good, played for Montreal for 2 or 3 years, something like that. So like a lot of that international spot is used on Japanese players, because they know there's a lot of talent in Japan.
Kelly, I didn't mean to butt in, but you sound like you're on a roll.
Well, I got one more, man, because I was thinking about that. Like when you had a situation and you had to get on to somebody, how did they react to that over there in Japan?
Especially if you use the wrong word.
Right.
Because that could really change the...
Well, I'm going to be honest. Culture-wise over there, that wouldn't go over well. Personally, if you tried to get on somebody or get frustrated with somebody, and it's kind of interesting. It's like, because with your American players. So I was lucky. We had a Japanese professional player over there that played D2 ball. Was basically moved to America when he was 6. Stuff like that. And he was a great friend of mine. His name's Jamal Watanabe. But he basically, like, those guys, you could kind of banter back and forth with. You can get on them for things that that should be done right. But your Japanese players, a lot of times it was like you couldn't really do that. It's kind of culture-wise, like stuff like that wouldn't go over well. And so, like, you had to kind of watch what you say around them. You have to kind of help them understand why you should do this instead of this, or things like that,
So diplomacy. Not Billy, how do you feel like that would work with Kelly?
Not well at all.
I'm just sitting here thinking about that, man. I would have had a tough time. They would have hated me because I was aggressive when I played. There's no question about that. And if you did something that caused something to happen, I was getting in your rear end a little bit. So I probably would have had to tone it down. I'm sure I could have adjusted, because I think that would be pretty cool to go do, man. That's just you get to go over there and see the world, and that's what I did, George. I got to go see Europe and all that, and that was really cool. And that's just what Tyler got to do with his wife, man. That's a really cool deal to be able to go and play a sport that you love, but you're in another country. It's a cool deal.
Yeah, it really was. You're not wrong.
Well, let's do this. Let's go to the break, and then we'll come back. A couple of things about the Cats, and then we'll throw him out, and we'll kick a few things around that we need to get to. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000, just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
On ESPN 94.9.
and the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back on a Monday afternoon that maybe isn't sunny, but it's not raining anymore as it was earlier this morning. This is Nashville Cats starting quarterback Tyler Kulka. The last two games that he has started, the Cats offense has picked up considerably, and they've gotten a couple of wins. So you talked about the whole slowing down, and kind of take me through, okay, when you first got here, it felt overwhelming. When does it start to slow down and why?
Well, I think it's just like normal outdoor football with like understanding coverages, reads, understanding a specific playbook. So like if you go into a team, you're gonna have to learn how a coach calls plays or his playbook or what he's looking for in certain situations. And so understanding coverages and stuff like that. And so for me, it was very similar to that, where I come in and it's arena football, so it's a little faster. It's a different game. It's understanding these motions are different. How do I want to attack this certain defense? And then also coverages are different in arena football because there's less DBs on the field. And so it's kind of starting to understand, okay, they're trying to do this, so I can attack this. And so for me, that's what I'm saying of like, that's how it's slowing down, where I'm understanding, okay, they're playing a different coverage here. I can throw the ball here. I can throw the ball here, and understanding where I need to go with the ball.
So is it as simple as if you kill it in the Arena League as a quarterback, that you're likely to kill it in the Canadian Football League? Are the two kind of similar or not similar?
I would say they're similar in some ways, but I'd also say they're different in some ways. I think, you have the motions, the high motions and stuff like that. But I think the similarities are they're both passing leagues. You have, granted, you have a much bigger field, wider, longer. So, you have to have a much stronger arm to push to those sidelines and be able to rip the ball to those sidelines as a quarterback. But then also in Canada, you have 3 downs. So they're throwing the ball like crazy. They're running a lot of quick game. They're doing all this stuff because you only have 3 downs, where arena is a very high passing league because of how it's set up in the arena. So I would say those are the similarities, but then there's also the big difference of the arm strength, where arena football is a lot more quick, accuracy, where, Canada, you got to be able to rip it from sideline to sideline.
Tyler, appreciate you taking the time. We did our show there, was it a couple weeks ago, George?
Yeah.
At Municipal?
It was the night that he played, and I was doing the game with Eli and knew nothing about him. And he at least told me I played in Japan. So my contribution to the broadcast was, this guy played in Japan. Can you go a little farther? Not really.
Now you can with Kelly's.
Now I've got
20
questions. I got some good stuff.
But I was going to ask, the field looks so tight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and especially for you as a guy playing on normal size football fields, that's what stood out to me. I was like, man, this is different. And obviously for players like veterans, like 3 or 4 year guys that have been in the arena, it's probably not as bad. But for you, like that's tight. I mean, did you look at that and go, man, this is different?
It is different. I think the biggest thing you look at is timing on some of those outbreaking routes and stuff like that. You just have to throw it much earlier than you would, with a big field. You have more space, to lead people or corner routes or things like that. So it's little stuff like that of learning your receivers, because you have to throw a lot of times, as they're breaking or before they're breaking, where when you're outside, you could take your 3-step and then you got to kind of see their angle, and then you could put it where they're going. And where in arena, it's very much when they're putting that foot in the ground, that ball's got to be gone. I'm putting it to a spot and you got to get there.
And
so
sort of use the that padding, the fence almost to your advantage a little bit, to where you've got some breathing room there on the side for a guy to almost, in baseball, rob it, almost hang, bump off the wall. You see that a lot in the Arena League.
Exactly. Actually, we're told to throw there a lot because it's a safe place to throw. No interceptions are thrown towards the wall. So that's what we're taught, actually.
So, Kelly, I heard you sort of grumble something when I asked the question about, if you kill it in the Arena League as a quarterback, does that likely mean you're going to kill it in the Canadian League? I'm guessing you didn't agree with that. Kind of share whatever you were thinking.
Well, because I think, and he just hit on it. I think when you're playing in the Arena League, it forces you to throw the ball on time, and he'll tell you that it forces you. Like in the Canadian League, the field is so wide, it's so different. But when you get to the Arena League, it's so condensed, and what it does great is it teaches a quarterback to get rid of the ball. You have to be on timing. You have to know where your guys are going. When they stick their foot in the ground, that ball's got to be gone, and that's only going to help him for his years to come. Hopefully he can make it to where his dreams and aspirations are. But this right here, right now in the Arena League is going to teach him, timing of stuff and getting rid of the football, which was one of my strengths.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I hear that a lot, especially that's what everyone says. When everyone says when you play arena football, you come back outdoors and the game slows down for you. And so I've heard that a lot as well.
Which should be to your advantage at some point.
Exactly. That's the hope, right?
So y'all are back on the road this week.
Yep.
Where?
Southwest Kansas. We play Southwest Kansas Storm. Should be a good game. This is the team that the Nashville Cats played their first game against and dropped the loss to them. And so we're looking to go avenge that.
So are you aware of how the show will end today?
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at this. Plaster bet of the day right there. And today there are 3 of them.
Okay.
Right. And after the break, we will reveal what they are and why they are. And let me also tell you this. Kelly is not a good teammate. He openly roots against me, which sucks, just to be perfectly honest.
Come on, Kelly.
Nah, I'm sorry, man. Part of it. At least I'm up front with it. That's what I told him, Tyler. I'm not going behind his back. I'll tell him up front.
Yep, there you go. That's what you got to do.
Billy, I think, has become more negative. I think Kelly's kind of worn on him. But we're going to go to the final break. By the way, thank you. Stick around here on the set because I know you will really want to know how this works.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Tyler, thank you. We'll go to the break. Our thanks to Tyler Kulka from the Nashville Cats for being with us. Plaster bet of the day, such as it is coming up next on 94.9 The Fan.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
The 4th Annual 615 Open, presented by Gary Force Acura and Cromwell Media alongside partner Fox 17, is coming back to Hermitage Golf Course May 29th. Join us for a day of golf, great food, and huge prizes from local businesses. All the support Folds of Honor. This amazing organization provides scholarships to families of fallen and disabled service members. Be part of the fun with some of your favorite radio and TV personalities, and you never know what surprise celebrity guests will hit the links with us. Registered now to play or sponsor at 615open.com.
It's back, the Electronic Express famous half-price fair. Now through Sunday, save up to 50% on 4K TVs, appliances, computers, gaming, washers, dryers, furniture, and more. That's up to 50% off in every department. Need expert help? We've got that. Want up to 36 months free financing? We've got that. Looking for fast delivery? You guessed it. We've got that too. Shop in-store or online anytime at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we've got that.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a Monday. Time now for Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We take a look first at what happened over the weekend. This was, I guess, Thursday. Was this Thursday night?
It was Thursday. That was our last show.
Kings did not get it done. As in the Sacramento Kings, or is this the LA?
No, that's the LA Kings against, as Crispy calls it, Calgary.
Calgary.
Yeah. Calgary beat the snot out of them. Okay, so the record as we try to fight our way back to 500. This is not easy against the spread. We got 3 games tonight, Kelly. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready if your throat's ready. I mean, can we get can we
know.
fix that or what?
I don't know what that's about. Okay, Billy, toss up the first one. So I have become a little bit of a Knicks fan. I'll admit that up front. I have no reason to other than I love the way the Garden sounds in April and May when the Knicks are in the playoffs. If you were to watch this game tonight, when the Knicks get on a little run, that place will be hopping like no other NBA arena. They really get into it. The truth of it is, the Pistons had them dead and beat in game 1. They were up 98-90 with 9 minutes left, and this is unheard of. The Knicks went on a 21-0 run, and Detroit looked like they had no clue what to do. It was panic city. So what happens tonight? It can go one of 2 ways. Either the Pistons rear up and say, you know what? We were the better team Saturday, and they win there, or a team that doesn't have a lot of playoff experience dies on the vine. I think they die on the vine.
It's weird seeing the Pistons in the playoffs because I can't remember the last time they were in the playoffs.
That's my team.
First time since like 18 that they've been in.
Since the Nixon administration.
No, it's not that far. Because if you go back,
they won the championship in 2004.
In the late 80s under Chuck Daly, when they had Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Lambier, Dennis Rodman.
That's too far back.
They were the nasty boys for a reason.
Nasty boys.
Yeah. Okay. So that's game 1. Game 2 is going to have some people shaking their head. Billy, throw it up there. I'm taking the Nuggets at home against the LA Clippers. Truthfully, the Clippers were the better team in game 1 and didn't close the deal. They had double-digit lead for quite a bit of it. They had that Denver crowd quieted down. Why do I think it's going to be different tonight? I don't know. I really don't.
Because they're back. Jokic and Murray are back.
Yeah, but they were both there for game 1.
Why was that a big injury update that they're playing tonight?
Well, I don't know, because you did an update where you made up stuff.
Oh, come on. I mean, that was the first story that I saw. They're playing tonight. I mean, why is this news?
They both played 2 days ago. Anyway, basically at the end of regulation, Russell Westbrook missed a shot at the end of regulation that would have won it from the Clippers. Anyway, this is going to be tight. This is a 4 against a 5 seeding wise, and what feels like a tight deal, at least in game 1 was, this one will be tight. And the only reason I'm going Nuggets, it's at home. Then to the hockey, where I told you that one underdog at least will win tonight. It's the Dallas Stars at home, and a pretty substantial underdog against Colorado, who obviously is on a roll, but this kind of a must win. If you're at home, you can't go down 0-2. So all the pressure is on the Stars to score first, get that crowd going for them. Kelly, I know you agree with me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
0-3. Let's go 0-3 tonight.
Wow, that's really
that's every show, Tyler.
That's pathetic.
There's been zero support from Kelly.
So pathetic.
And Tyler, I appreciate Tyler coming on, but he needs to go home and do something with that shirt. Burn it, throw it away, do something.
Had to rock it for George. I love it.
Yeah, so stuff it, Kelly. Tomorrow on the show, Tony Basilio, we may have reaction to a new quarterback at the University of Tennessee. All signs pointing to Joey Aguilar. And then during the 4 o'clock hour, former Titans wide receiver Derek Mason and Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, and TitanInsider.com. Kelly, until then, try to behave.
I'll try, man. See
And
y'all.
Billy, do whatever it is you do.
Yeah, same to you.
Yeah, see ya. We're out of here. Goodbye.